With that, I will call on Senator Cruz, and I will yield the chair to Senator Shaheen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, everyone. Congratulations on your nominations. Ms. Lempert, I want to start by asking about the case of Ahlam Tamimi. As you know, she is an FBI most wanted terrorist. She helped mastermind a horrific attack in Israel in 2001. That attack injured over 100 people and killed 15, including 7 children and a pregnant woman. The pregnant woman was an American, Judith Greenbaum. One of the murdered children was also an American, Malka Roth. Jordan has for some time been harboring Tamimi and is refusing to extradite her to the United States. They say that our extradition treaty with them is not valid. 3 years ago, I questioned our ambassador to Jordan, Ambassador Worcester, about the United States' position on this issue, which he answered in testimony to this committee. I'd now like to ask you about your understanding. First, Ambassador Worcester testified in writing that the United States believes the government of Jordan is wrong and that our extradition treaty with them is valid. Is that also your understanding?
Thank you, Senator, for raising this important question. And if I may, I'd just like to begin by acknowledging what a difficult and frustrating issue this has been for the Congress, for those of us in the executive branch, but most of all, for the families of the American citizen victims of Ahlam Tamimi's horrific crimes, Malka Roth and Shoshana Judith Greenbaum. If confirmed, I will do everything in my power to ensure that Ahlam Tamimi faces justice in the United States for her horrific crimes. And to your precise question, Senator, yes, that is my understanding.
Thank you, and I appreciate your strong commitment on this. I can tell you I have personally raised this issue face-to-face multiple times with the King of Jordan, and we need to get this resolved. Second, Ambassador Worcester committed to me and to this committee in writing that he would explore all options, including and specifically including withholding military and economic assistance from the government of Jordan to secure Tamimi's extradition. I'd like to hear if you're willing to make the same commitment today.
Senator, I think our relationship with Jordan is multifaceted and extremely important. There's obviously some issues that we're not going to agree on. I think that what I can confirm to you is that I will do everything in my power to ensure that Ahlam Tamimi faces justice in the United States. As to the specifics of that, I would have to defer to my colleagues at the Department of Justice, as this is a law enforcement issue. And I'm willing to explore a variety of ways to continue this discussion with the Jordanians.
Does that variety of ways include potentially withholding military and economic assistance?
Senator, I think that that would need to be weighed very carefully against the range of issues and priorities that we have with the Jordanians before considering such a step, which I think would be profound. I would want to, if confirmed, get out there and try and work on this and see if we can make progress in other ways.
Well, and let me be clear, I'm not asking you to commit today to withholding that aid. But your predecessor committed in writing that that was one of the options on the table to force Jordanian cooperation. And you said you want to consider it further and consider it with your colleagues. I'm going to ask you to do that and follow up to this hearing. I'm going to ask you in writing again the same questions I asked your predecessor, and I very much hope the answer is the same. We need to use every tool we have. And I have no desire to cut off aid to Jordan. What I have desire is to get this terrorist who murdered Americans to face justice. Let me shift to another topic briefly. In 2004, President Bush provided assurances to our Israeli allies about how the United States envisions a final peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians. Specifically, the so-called Bush letters stated that Israel would not be expected to withdraw from all of its cities and towns in the West Bank. And I want to read you part of that assurance. Quote, "In light of new realities on the ground, including already existing major Israeli population centers, it is unrealistic to expect that the outcome of final status negotiations will be full and complete return to the armistice lines of 1949. Is it your understanding that these assurances are still the policy of the United States?"
Senator, the President has been clear that as we pursue the goal of a two-state solution, that it would be along 1967 lines with mutually agreed swaps. So I believe that that speaks to exactly the question that you're raising.
So is your answer yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
A tense exchange unfolded during a Senate confirmation hearing as Senator Ted Cruz pressed a nominee on the U.S. effort to extradite Ahlam Tamimi, an FBI most wanted terrorist accused of helping mastermind a 2001 bombing in Israel that killed 15 people, including American citizens. Cruz criticized Jordan for harboring Tamimi and refusing to extradite her, despite a valid U.S.-Jordan extradition treaty. He cited prior testimony from the U.S. ambassador to Jordan affirming the treaty's validity and asked whether the nominee shared that view. The nominee confirmed that the United States considers the treaty valid and pledged to do everything possible to ensure Tamimi faces justice in the U.S. Cruz then asked whether the administration would consider withholding military or economic aid to Jordan to secure her extradition. While the nominee stopped short of committing to that step, she said she was open to exploring all options and continuing discussions with Jordanian officials. The senator made clear he expects follow-up answers in writing and emphasized that all available tools should be used to hold Tamimi accountable for the murder of Americans. Cruz later shifted to U.S. policy on Israel, asking whether assurances given under President George W. Bush stating Israel would not be required to withdraw to the 1949 armistice lines remain U.S. policy. The nominee responded that the administration supports a two-state solution based on 1967 lines with mutually agreed land swaps, which Cruz acknowledged before concluding his questioning.